sure enough, I'm like flying to New York City, and then on the 101st floor of this skyscraper in this ballroom, meeting with a billionaire and these other internet personalities. And you only experience that because you put yourself out there.
I realized about the time that I didn't know what real estate was and that they weren't selling houses, by the way.
Yeah.
I said, are we selling houses? And they're like, no, commercial real estate. I was like, I don't know what that is.
What's cool about a brokerage career is you basically have your own business. We're not clocking in, clocking out somewhere. So that's kind of what led me into this. Again, not with a huge commercial real estate background.
You got to be thinking about the stuff you work on today probably isn't closing for 6 months, 12 months, 18 months later, sometimes years later, which sounds crazy when you start. You're like, I don't want to get in that business.
So you close a giant deal, the next day you're like, back to being a loser. And this business is all about buildings up until a certain point that it becomes about people.
How many times have we experienced somebody that we feel like is caring about us, whether it's a doctor or a car mechanic or a vet, but they actually care about me? We're like, here's the check. Bo's hanging out with this lady and having coffee. I need to know what's going on. And it was social media related. It's similar to what's happened with Justin now.
Right.
Now people nationally or worldwide can know who you are.
And when people know who you are, everything is easier.
The deal that we were discussing earlier that's closing tomorrow, that's a client I met on LinkedIn that we've now done 5 deals together.
This episode is sponsored in part by the Massimo Group. Are you a commercial real estate broker looking to boost your business? The Massimo Group is the world's premier coaching organization, transforming the careers of brokers just like you, just like it did for me. Visit www.massimo-group.com today to get started and take your career to the next level. This episode is also brought to you by Site to Do Business, commercial real estate's most advanced toolkit, providing commercial real estate professionals like me with premier data, mapping, and marketing tools to win business and revolutionize decision-making. Visit stdb.com to learn more.
Welcome to Commercially Speaking. I'm Timmy Barron, ADHD.
And I'm Bo Barron, CCIM.
And this is the podcast where Bo teaches me everything about commercial real estate. I want to learn as much about commercial real estate so I can make fun of people in commercial real estate. We've got the first time in the studio 2 guests.
2 guests.
Yeah, couldn't be any more perfect.
Let me introduce you,
please,
to my good friends Matt Stone and Justin Ryder from SVN Lex in Lexington, Kentucky.
Yeah, baby!
Let's go.
Thrilled to be here, guys. Thrilled to be here.
Yeah, it's so great.
We've got a funny side and a serious side.
That's
kind of. We can go back and forth, maybe.
That's right.
It is constrained and controlled on our side. Over there, it's wide open.
So is there like a Timmy Barron fan club now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you guys getting all kinds of weird messages about, like, is he married? Is he like?
No, I haven't gotten the "can you set me up with Timmy" kind of thing. We have talked about your family enough. I think we're
they just want my socks, my dirty socks.
But when I go places, people ask me about Timmy all the time. And so for the first time on Friday, we're going to Houston for the governance meetings for a CCIM.
I'll be there.
And I'm bringing him with me.
I love it.
That is awesome.
And you got to bring some video.
That is awesome.
Some mics.
Oh, yeah. We might need to get you one of these.
Interview some people.
One of these things.
Yeah, this thing's good.
Yeah, so watching some of the video, I thought you were a little bit taller.
It's funny, I get that a lot.
I do too.
Yeah.
Over the years, people see me on webinars and stuff or on this and they meet me in person.
But you know what?
I thought you were taller.
You and me are both taller than Joe Rogan.
And my wife fits perfectly under my arm. So
That's right.
I am the appropriate height.
There you go.
That's right.
It worked out.
We also got
Bing. Cut.
Anyway, just to break the ice, we're not live.
About once an episode, he tries to throw something. It just makes me incredibly uncomfortable. And then sometimes it'll make it in the episode, and sometimes it doesn't.
Cool. Well, Matt Stone, I was looking you up just to see, like, oh, Matt Stone's coming. Who are we? And here's what I know. You went to UK.
Got it.
Mm-hmm. You are the owner of Stone SVN in Lexington.
SVN Stone Commercial Real Estate. So
SVN.
it's Stone Commercial Real Estate is my entity, and we have the SVN franchise for Central and Eastern Kentucky.
And then Justin, I've seen your videos, which are incredible.
They are.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and I assume our audience knows who you are. A lot of our audience knows who you are.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, I would.
Some will. Most will.
I think a lot of them.
Some will.
A lot of them
Some
are going
good.
to be excited when they see that you're on the show.
Let's be honest. The commercial real estate media space is a small pond. and you guys are big fish as well. So, and I'm an advisor with Matt. So the media thing is kind of all on the side. My license is with SV and Stone Commercial Real Estate, and I broker assets on a day-to-day basis, including the 5 minutes I was in your all's conference room negotiating.
That's right.
So that's what we do.
And you can hit the road and be down here and still work from a laptop, cell phone.
Yeah, baby.
Let's go.
I'm not as good at multitasking as Matt.
Humble, handsome.
He's not humble, but he is good at it. He just doesn't trust himself as much as he should.
Sure.
And that happens when you're new in the business. Bo and I met 18 years ago when we were both part of SVN.
Yeah.
And, we were trying to figure it out. He had a little more confidence than I did, being a Marine, having his dad with some background, and me having no real estate background.
But we actually had our connection goes back to Dad in college. When you came into the business, your broker was
Steve Pulliam and John Bernal were the owners of SVN.
Yep.
And Steve Pulliam
and our dad were fraternity brothers at UK.
Aha.
Oh, wow.
Bully Barron, as he was told.
Yeah, our dad was Bully Barron. Did you know that? His nickname was Bully?
I did not know that was his nickname.
And how surprised are you?
Zero. 0% surprised.
Bo Barron, is that Bully's son? And I said, I have no idea, but probably.
Oh, my goodness. Dad was called Bully.
Evidently.
As a nickname.
So,
Evidently.
Wonder what it means.
we're going to have to go into that.
Look, our dad did not bully us growing up unless we were on a basketball court or if there was some sort of competition. In our family, if you won, you earned it.
So that was a connection. So Steve and John were kind of like, if you've ever read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, it's essentially the idea of money, figuring out how for money to work for you versus you working for money and understanding that process. And I had some entrepreneurship around my family-ish, but nothing like your all's family. And so I was able to learn from guys like Steve and John, who were connected to guys like Bo and Bully, and start to learn that network and that pond, as Justin mentioned. What is all of this, and how could I take this from an entrepreneurial level, not just brokering deals, but maybe even owning them, or maybe even managing them, or syndicating, or all these different things that we've now, aspired to and have started doing. Bo's doing that, doing some of that. So kind of how could all that grow over time? So I had to have guys like that in my life. So Steve was that. He had connections to your dad. They both had the SVN franchise, and we were able to kind of make that connection pretty quickly. Kentucky boys, had some fun together at some of the conferences, and then have, done a few deals over the years together, which has been fun, but also just really admired each other, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Appreciated each other, bounced ideas off each other, have been raising a family of similar ages. And, been married. I've been married 21 years. How many years have you been?
23.
23. So he's a little 24. Ahead of me in life. So
Sure.
He's pulling some of us along, Timmy. He's helping us.
I know.
What I want to know
Me too.
is if Matt's just 2 years younger than me, which I think is the case, you're 45, where's all your gray hair, my friend?
That's true.
His assets are all performing. No stress.
Yeah, no stress. I got guys like Justin who are just getting deals done.
And you guys are bragging about deals you've done. Timmy and I are leaving here today to do a deal.
Yeah, big deal.
Yeah, he's getting ready to buy. What would you buy? And if you could buy one asset in commercial real estate, like what would you buy?
That's a good question. I've never thought about that.
Based on what you've learned so far.
Yeah, we
What
learned a
type
ton
of
about
asset
it.
would you buy?
Yeah.
Let's go with type of asset first.
Yeah. Being put on the spot, I would say industrial.
Okay.
I'd
like
say
it.
industrial class B.
Ooh, I like class
Because it's
B.
a
Why?
fixed supply.
Okay.
And if you got a growing population, it's a growing demand.
Okay.
So the vacancy rate will go down and the rents go up.
Ooh, I like it. Baby. Supply
Not too bad,
and
huh?
demand.
That's pretty good.
That's good.
And you didn't know any of that when you started.
No, I knew nothing. On our test podcast, like the very first one, I asked Bo what a broker was.
And
I knew
when
nothing.
growing up in school, when you had to say what your dad did,
Yeah.
you would say,
Yeah, I'd go around and I said, my dad goes to work. He works at work. My dad works at work. Because all growing up, it's like, Dad's at work. He's coming home from work. I had no idea
What it was.
what it was. Yeah.
And it was real estate.
It was commercial real estate. And then when I learned about like what agents were and real estate was, it still didn't make sense to me. Because I'm like, didn't realize a broker was commercial and what commercial was. And
Well, every building is a little small business. I mean, every building has profit, loss, and you can dig into it and figure out what it's worth. But there's so many moving parts to each one. I actually learned that in CCIM.
right. I think we talked about that once.
probably.
Yeah. Matt, I'm curious. What did you, when you were in college, at what point were you interested in commercial real estate?
In college, I did a ministry called Young Life and spent a ton of time with people. Mm-hmm. And so I understood that kind of I was a people guy, and I was also an engineering major. So I kind of had an idea of I like, roads, bridges, and civil engineer type stuff. Then I graduate UK and I start working for Young Life. So I go ahead and say, all right, I'm more of a people person. I switched my major at the end and did a math degree. So I was good with numbers, like tangible assets, good with people. Mm-hmm. So all those things were happening, but no real estate stuff. Didn't even own my own home. After a few years working for Young Life, my stepdad, Monty Hinton, give a little shout out to Mont.
Shout out to Mont.
Shout out to Mont.
He and my mom had gone to University of Virginia and had visited Charlottesville, Virginia, just to go as a place to hang out. And they were walking the campus, and they went to the business school and saw all these kids getting their MBA. And he understood what a master's in business was long before I even understood it. Even though I'm getting a degree at UK in undergrad, I didn't really understand the MBA. And he said, with all the skills and assets and kind of who you are, a master's in business would be something that would be really good for you. Doors open for an MBA, got a master's in business. So I went to UK twice, went back to do a master's. And then as I was finishing that, Jeff Yeary and Don Howard had bought the SVN franchise. And they knew Bo's dad, they knew your dad, and they had brought Steve and John into the fold, but they actually owned it. Steve and John were going to be advisors under them. And they were looking for a young person that they could teach the business to. Mm-hmm. They were looking for a Timmy, a Justin, a Matt. Yeah. And so
you're being groomed to take over.
Oh, maybe it is. So they were looking for a young guy to teach the business to, and they said, would you be interested in coming and do real estate with us? All they said was real estate.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't really know a whole lot about real estate, but what's the deal? How much do you pay? How does it work? And they said, it's all commission, no salary. And I said, sounds terrible. So I was pretty uncomfortable with it, but my wife, we'd gotten married a few years before that. She had just finished her master's a year before that and now had a job. So she was in her first job while I was getting my MBA.
Yeah.
So we kind of flip-flopped. I worked for Young Life. And so then she said, why don't you just treat this like an internship for a year and see how it goes? And that was 2006. And here we are in 2024. So it worked out.
Yeah.
So thank you, Mandy. But Monty and my mom kind of had that vision for me of, if you go ahead and get the MBA, then that opens that door for you. And then things like CCIM and SIOR and other things that you all have talked about on here, once you actually get that, and Justin's done a CCIM as well, no one can really take that away from you. It gives you that knowledge base. It gives you that credential. It opens those doors. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're better or smarter than someone else. Mm-hmm. But what it does mean is that you have gotten some of the work done to give your mind, to open your mind's eye, if you will,
sure,
into those areas, and to be able to ask really good critical questions. Mm-hmm. I said, what my MBA did for me and what my CCIM has done for me, more than actually having the knowledge base, is having the right questions to ask.
Yeah.
Is having the curiosity, is to understanding that there's more to the story, and I need to understand that each piece of real estate is its own small business. And what are those parts and what are those pieces, and how can I ask good questions to get the most out of those things?
Right.
As opposed to just, oh, now I know everything.
Right.
That's a farce, of course.
That's I've heard so much about CCIM. Like, that's what a lot of people say, is that it opened their eyes.
That's right.
At what's possible, what you can do, and
how it all operates together. How it all, because everybody's just like, well, there's the piece of real estate and it's just worth something.
Yeah.
But we all know that if it doesn't have a tenant, right, then it doesn't have income, then it's not worth the same thing, potentially, as if it's empty. Some buildings are worth the same thing empty as they are full, and we could go into that in a different episode. But anyway, all that to say, I realized about the time that I didn't know what real estate was, and that they weren't selling houses, by the way. Yeah. I said, are we selling houses? And they're like, no, commercial real estate. I was like, I don't know what that is. So I literally started in real estate similar to how you felt.
Wow.
Going on this podcast going, I don't know a whole lot. And they said, you're good with people, you're good with numbers, we'll teach you the commercial real estate business. And they walked away after like 3 months, Jeff and Don did, because they were doing a hotel business. And they basically said, here's Steve and John. Yeah. Take Matt Stone. And I was like, who are these old guys? And they were like, who's this young punk kid?
He was like Moses.
They dropped me like a baby in a basket. And I woke up and went, these guys are amazing. So it was a godsend. It felt odd at the time, and I thought, this isn't what I signed up for. And I've said this multiple times to both of them. John has passed. Steve is still with us. And I tell Steve even to this day, he was playing golf with us last week, and I said, Steve, you saw things in me that I didn't see in myself.
Yeah.
You had vision for me. Same as my mom and my stepdad did about the MBA. So people will see those things in you. Your dad's seen things in you all. Your parents have seen things in you all. And they've encouraged you to move forward. And here you are today doing these fun things.
Right.
So,
yeah, very similar to in my story is actually Mandy was the first one to mention, hey, Matt has bought this business. You should consider.
Justin?
So that seed was planted early on.
You know this is Justin Ryder that you're inviting to work with us.
How did you know him already?
Yeah, he was a mentor in college.
Oh.
So we had known each other through Young Life, which is a ministry. We were both on staff for a little while before jumping into being commercial real estate brokers. And what I would say, too, is the cool part about that is, like, you learn buildings in theory through CCIM and practice and textbook type of thing. And this business is all about buildings up until a certain point that it becomes about people. Mm. And people make irrational decisions and have, different viewpoints on what they want to do, different goals, and you end up coming into people's lives at times where they might be interested in a pivot. So we work with a lot of people where you might find them in the midst of, sadly, a divorce or death or financially challenging situation, or just simply 5 or 7 years into the life of the investment when it's time to go to work because there's a refi coming or whatever. So I always tell people it's about buildings up into a point where it becomes about people. And our ministry background, really gave us a master's degree in people. So high IQ, high EQ, I think is required to do this job.
And then I took ownership in 14, 15, 16 with John and Steve.
Yeah.
So that's where things changed, where Mandy was kind of saying, well, if God's kind of got this company that he's given you, then who's going to come along with you?
Right.
Because we had 5 or 6 people at that time who were already part of it, including Steve and John. And then now we have 22 today.
Wow.
Justin was a part of kind of that growth.
Yeah, and I'll give Matt a couple shout outs here because something that's would be fun for us to discuss is culture of a team. And it is one thing to be a real estate entrepreneur. Like, I more consider myself a real estate entrepreneur. Matt is, as a managing director, is leading a group of real estate entrepreneurs, which is a totally different thing. And so what I love, our company culture, which is, again, is super fun thing to talk about. Part of that is we do have a lot of fun. And I was discussing that with another agent in our office, to shout out to John Bunch, who's a listener.
Hey, John.
John Bunch!
But he came in my office and he was working on something and wanting to get it done. And we were kind of commiserating together over some stressful things. And then I was like, you realize we laugh so much in this office. And to Matt's credit, that's just one piece of the vision. But it is a really great community.
Yeah.
And has a specific goal, a specific purpose. Matt's really passionate about we are a commercial real estate team to serve God, to serve our community, to make people's lives better. It's a service business, right? And the key to service is you're serving people and putting their needs before yours. So focusing on people, not transactions and that sort of thing. When would you say that vision kind of hit you?
I've always kind of known it's about the people. I mean, even when I was just starting into real estate in 2006, I knew that God was kind of saying, you hang out with the people and I'll figure out the business side.
Yeah.
It was 2014, 15, 16 where I actually put all that on paper and really started saying I need to kind of have this mission, vision, value kind of idea structured so that I can walk in January 1 of 2016 and say, I own the company now. But really what's happened is God owns a company that I manage. And not only that, we manage it. So I've really taken the true team approach of, this is not even mine. It's something we all manage together. So Justin is just as much part of building as I am.
Yeah.
I just happen to be kind of leading the charge.
Yeah.
And sort of setting some of that vision. And a culture is not a culture without all the people kind of working together to create that.
Right.
So the laughter in the office is partly because I like to goof off and have fun and enjoy time and have fun together. But part of it is because Justin will take that on, or John Bunch will take that on, or Melissa will laugh, or all the different people will be a part of that.
Right.
That's really what makes a culture, is all the people collectively.
Right.
Not just me saying, hey, we should have some fun today.
Yeah, but that's a huge part of it.
Yeah. And I guess why that is interesting to me is, for all of your listeners, is if someone's out there thinking well, what is life like as a broker or that sort of thing? It can be an absolute grind, Bo, as you know. And
sure.
But with a overall purpose and vision that all of that work and effort is building into, it can be really awesome too. So tons of hard work, but tons of meaningful work, I would say, that requires expertise, requires people skills, and all that wrapped together, you have this pretty cool life that we're living. I mean, we're sitting in Owensboro right now in a bank vault recording a podcast. We're not clocking in, clocking out somewhere. So there's some freedom there. There's investment opportunity. I don't know if you guys were interested in a broker's life, but that's a little sense of,
but
I
Mandy
think,
mentioned Justin, and
What year was this?
This was probably 2015, 16, right?
16, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
16. So it was right kind of when I was becoming a partner and then taking sole ownership. And, she just would kind of notice people and say, like, this person seems to really fit with kind of what you're doing. But she wasn't in the office. Like, she doesn't work there. She said, this is pretty funny actually. She's like, I would never work for Matt or with Matt or around Matt. Like, he needs to go do his thing here, and I need to do my thing over here. She's a child therapist. She's amazing.
Yeah.
I always say she's writing a book on me. I'm like the case study, and when she's done with the book, she's going to be like, thank you very much for your time. But, I'm kind of nutty. But anyway, all that to say, she could see people. She's even better with people than I am. And she's really good at noticing things about people and saying, this person, these are their traits and capabilities, and they would fit really well together on a team.
Yeah.
And so she's helped me recruit quite a few of the people that I have, either directly or indirectly, through processing and thinking about it with her.
Sure.
I mean, if she doesn't feel like it's going to be a good fit, it probably isn't going to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so every person that's joined our team at some point has had a meeting with Mandy, but they didn't really know it's like an interview.
Right.
But it's like, hey, I want to meet you and your wife, and I want you to meet my wife, and let's all go to dinner together.
Right.
If they, and if they don't have a spouse, then it's just with the individual.
Sure.
But a lot of the people in our office are married. So
when did you actually make the transition to commercial real estate?
Yeah, late 18. Okay. Technically 19 was the first start, so about 6 years. Recently hit like 150-ish deals, so it's been a deal like every 13, 14 days.
Yeah.
Dang. That's big, right?
That's a really
on
nice
average. That's not how it.
That's a real nice.
That's not how it actually works.
That's not how it unfolded.
Yeah,
but on average,
there's between them.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
it's just on average.
Oh, I see it now. Yeah.
But volume was the goal in the beginning. Like, do as many quality transactions as possible, basically to get reps, to learn the business, and to build a foundation.
What were you doing before that? Because you said the transition into commercial.
Yeah, nonprofit leadership with a company called Young Life. Yeah, I was on Young Life staff in a couple different places and loved the ministry, loved my time there, but just had an entrepreneurial itch. Because what's cool about a brokerage career is you basically have your own business. Mm. And my license is with, I don't know if I'm an employee or not. Not after this. After this question, here we go. But
independent contractor.
I'm an independent contractor working under the SVN flag. Yeah, which is awesome and has a great culture or whatever. But it was really that, and some of the media stuff that I've done is part of that. I've got this itch and need to scratch it with starting a business. So that's kind of what led me into this. Again, not with a huge commercial real estate background. Mm-hmm. Definitely watched like Sell It Like Sirhan or whatever, or, $1 million listing and thought, oh, that's really cool. Like that seems awesome early on. So always kind of thought that could be a really cool place to end up. And then with Matt owning the business, it was like two roads diverged into one.
Yeah. So Mandy mentions that 2 years later, basically, Justin comes to visit, and they come to Kentucky and sits down with me in the fall of 18 and kind of lays out this letter that he's written and says, hey, basically.
Wow, we're going there. Huh?
Basically, I'm coming back to Kentucky and I'm going to work with you.
It was a poem. It was written in.
Was it actually a poem?
It was haiku. No. But it was just. It was
basically like wow. We've kind of journeyed together as friends and family.
Yeah,
we've been connected all over these years, our friends, and then our families now because we've got kids and et cetera. And we've stayed connected, and we'd supported them on Young Life staff when I actually finally made a little bit of money. Then we could support missionaries and different people, and Justin's family being one of them. And so we'd always stayed connected. But he said, Mandy planted this seed a few years ago, and we all kind of laughed about it. But, here we are, and I'm actually ready. We want to move home. We want to raise our family in Kentucky. This is where we want to be. And I think I'm supposed to come work with you.
Yeah.
And I said, man, that's amazing. Feel very honored. I can't believe you're going to do this. All the while thinking, I don't know if I want this responsibility to take on somebody moving all the way back here who's all commission.
Right.
Based one, because he said, I'll go all commission. He wasn't saying like, I need you to hire me as a job. And I said,
I kind of wanted that.
And I said, you need to get a real estate license. He said, that's already done. Like right on the spot, he was living in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Like on the weekends and at nights had just knocked it out.
Yeah.
So he's already has the license, and he's like, I think I've got like 60 days to place it with someone. So I was hoping that you would say yes.
Do you remember?
Wow.
Like, whoa. He's not just like saying.
If not, I would have been here in the vault. Would have been in my office with Barron Commercial Real Estate.
Right,
Well, do you remember I came to Lexington.
Yes.
It was late 2018, early 2019.
Yeah, I remember
We had a conversation. You had I remember you telling me the story about him, but I didn't know who Justin Ryder was at the time.
I still don't.
But I remember you talking about that very thing. I'd just come back to the business. We were thinking about coming back under the SVN flag.
That's exactly what it was.
And
because you had worked with Massimo most recently before that.
That's right. Yeah, I just left the Massimo group. And
really just Massimo trained me in SVN in the basement of a building on Von Carmen Avenue or wherever.
That's exactly where it was.
Los Angeles.
18880 Von Carmen Avenue, I think.
So that's where Sperry Van Ness, which is now SVN.
Yeah.
So Rand Sperry and Mark Van Ness started a company in the 80s. And then Bo and I got to be a part of that in, probably mid 2005 to...
No, we came on in 08.
08
Yeah.
13 maybe.
Yeah, that's about right.
So Bo was involved in that same time when I came in 06.
Yeah.
I thought we were in at the same time. Well, nonetheless, when he came in, that's when we met.
Yeah.
Bully Barron and Steve and them being part of SVN.
Yeah.
And so Rod Santa Massimo was part of my journey.
So you got to experience Mr. Big Ego?
Oh, yeah.
As well, yeah.
No, back then he was just fast talking training guy.
No. But the Mr. Big Ego was in the basement. Okay. Do you remember having to?
I thought you met Rod. So Rod, we love you.
We love you, Rod.
It sounded like that, but the joke is when Rod would role play with
you. He didn't have a big ego yet. Then. No, I'm just kidding.
He still doesn't now. He's a friend.
We love you, Rod.
Yeah. It was his alias.
It was his alias when he would role play with us, and so in that basement, I had to pitch him the SVN pitch thing, and he was the prospective client, and he would call himself Mr. Big Ego.
That's his character.
Like that was his.
I'm remembering something.
That was his alias when we would role play. So when we had Rod on a few episodes ago, we were laughing about that story, and so that's the. Yeah, you weren't exactly calling Rod Mr. Big Ego.
No, not at all.
Yeah, okay.
I love that.
Just to be clear.
I would never.
So, that was about that same time when you came, and, I'm kind of thinking, okay, we've got a couple people that had already joined us, but really from about that day forward when Justin joined us, that's kind of God kept opening the door for more and more people. So we've really added quite a few more since he's joined. Which has been really cool. And then each of those people, like I've said, have had their own story.
Yeah.
And it's been pretty cool. In the process of taking the company, I also finished my CCIM. So that was a part of our journey too, that Bo and I were all connected into that world. And I told Justin this on the way here, but the first time I realized that social media was really going to be a big piece of commercial real estate.
Yeah.
Right. I knew it existed. Right.
Right.
So 10 years ago, I would say, before I finished my CCM, I was taking one of my last classes, and I went to Las Vegas, and I'm in the class, and I say I'm from Kentucky.
Yeah.
And this girl comes up to me in the break and goes, "Do you know Bo Barron?"
Whoa.
And I said, "I do know Bo Barron. Bo's a good friend of mine." She's like, "You're no way."
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah." And she said, "I have coffee with Bo Barron regularly." And I said, "Wow." I mean, she lived West Coast.
Wow.
And I said, "Well, Bo's hanging out with this lady having coffee. I need to know what's going on." And so the story was, I'll let Bo tell it, but he had some online group that was doing like this coffee deal.
Yeah.
And they were connected, and it was social media related.
Yeah, I don't think I started this, but I was involved in it. It was like CRE Coffee Club.
Yes.
Something
and
like
you were
I'd forgotten about that.
Within that. And at that time, whether Bo realizes it or not, people on a national level were starting to know who he was. It's similar to what's happened with Justin now.
Right. Sure.
Of like, oh, you've kind of gone from like local Lexington guy to now people nationally or worldwide can know who you are.
Right.
Because you don't have to go to Las Vegas to meet her.
Right.
You can literally connect to her through social media.
That's right.
And if you are a legitimate person and they are too, then over time you realize like, oh, this is a real guy who really knows what he's doing and is fun to be around, and I can grow from and learn from, and we can sharpen the saw and we can get better together. We might even do deals together. But if not, it's just a great connection and relationship because maybe we have a CCIM in common in that case. Right. So that was where I first went, boom, there's some things happening here. And then Justin obviously has taken it to a different level, most recently within our company. Yeah. And a few other guys as well. But Justin's kind of done the next level work. And it's been really fun to see.
Yeah. I mean, you guys are doing it, right? I mean, every real estate entrepreneur now, and this would go beyond real estate, but just specifically for our audience, every entrepreneur is their own little personal media company. Mm-hmm. Right. Yep. So if you're an independent contractor, like it's up to you to figure out if you want to publish, if you want to tell stories, if you want to attract people to who you are and your purpose and what you're doing, how much you know. I know you've had Bob Knackle on to talk through, like, I can tell you everything up to 96th Street and revealing this encyclopedic knowledge that gets shared as like a small media thing that each person is responsible for. So try to take that really seriously. I think that's a trend that will continue to evolve, and continue to be more and more true.
Take us through how you decided to get started doing that. Like, as a commercial real estate broker, your success depends on the right strategies and guidance. The Massimo Group, the world's top coaching organization for brokers, can help you scale your business and increase your income. And as a former client, I've personally experienced how their coaching can transform not only your career, but also your life. Don't wait to grow. Head to www.massimo-group.com today and see how their proven systems can work for you. This episode is also brought to you by Site to Do Business, the ultimate commercial real estate data analysis and mapping tool. Whether you're a seasoned professional or just starting out, Site to Do Business provides the data and insights you need to make informed decisions and close deals faster. Frankly, it's the tool that I use the most in my business. Access comprehensive market analysis, demographic data, and powerful mapping tools like ArcGIS, Placer AI, and Flood Maps all in one place. Identify the best locations for your clients, analyze market trends, and present your findings with confidence. Don't miss out on this game-changing platform. Visit stdb.com today and see how it can optimize your business. And now back to the show.
Well, I was
outside
seven.
Of the
I was 7 pretending I had a radio show. It started really young. Like, I just love making stuff. Never went into anything professionally that was media driven. It's always been sort of an add-on and accelerator for what I was doing, whether it was Young Life and then now real estate stuff. But as far as CRE goes, it started on LinkedIn, which is a totally business-like platform that people don't tend to think of as really fun. And in fact, people think of it as pretty boring.
Yeah, sure.
Right.
And, it sort of is. So it's easier to stand out.
Yeah, it's a real opportunity.
And it is. Yeah. It's a real opportunity. So, the deal that we were discussing earlier that's closing tomorrow, that's a client I met on LinkedIn that we've now done 5 deals together. Huh. So, and that was just from a DM of someone saying like, hey, I saw you sold this in Central Kentucky. I'm interested in that area. Can we talk? And that launched into a relationship. So I was spoiled and early on realized, I just found a client on this. Like, this is just paid for itself for, the next 5 years or ever, as far as time goes. And then it became just an art. And I've loved how much it's helped me with writing skills, writing scripts or hooks or that sort of thing. Always wanted to do video, so that's been the latest development in it, is adding YouTube just in 2024. So I have like 30 or 40 videos now that are out there. I'm trying to figure out like what is the best way to use this tool of video to, inspire the next generation. Really, I kind of tell people like my media goal is to help people improve the sales life. Yeah. So it doesn't just go into attract more clients for Justin Ryder and SV and Stone's business, but to, inspire people, encourage people, help them improve the sales life. And as that audience builds, more and more people that I want to hear that message hear it and get back to, with me.
Well, let me ask you this, because with the podcasts and the videos and the stuff that we do, I show up, I talk, I go back to my office, and I have my lovely brother over here who does all that work, right? But you do your stuff.
Yeah, unfortunately. If you're an editor out there, please get a hold of me. Help.
We call us first.
The writing part is very easy. I mean, most of the writing is done. It's anecdotal. It's situational. So it's like at a red light, I'll jot something down and be like, that's a really good idea. That's a shared experience that I know people on LinkedIn or Twitter or whatever would respond to. So not a ton of time there. The video production stuff takes longer. But remember, I'm not doing 45 minutes of stuff too. Like when I do a video, I'll record 20 minutes. That becomes 8.
Sure.
So it's a little bit of a, it's shorter, a little bit easier.
Yeah.
There's some AI tools I'm using. I'd like to outsource it. I just haven't really figured out how yet.
Yeah. Right.
We're trying to figure that out too.
Well, the quality of what you put out is really,
So good.
really good.
Oh, thank you.
What camera do you use?
A Sony FX30.
And then what lighting are you? What kind of lighting?
I've got a key light of some kind.
Yeah.
At a Sigma, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
But simple, just simple setup. It's just at my desk at home.
Yeah, it looks so good though. It looks so. What's your lens?
Oh, that's a great.
So, how's your family?
Camera nerds.
Here, you all talk about sports.
16 millimeter.
16 millimeter.
Yeah, I couldn't think of that. 16 millimeter.
Yeah.
That's so. But it puts you right into where you feel like I'm just sitting, like we're talking. Like I picture my audience literally directly across from me, sitting at a desk talking, and then I do enjoy, just fun edits and eye candy type stuff that makes it interesting and words on the screen and whatever. I mean, it's hard to keep people's attention these days.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
So you gotta, you flash and honestly, what has been the biggest surprise from all of that is some of the most popular videos are vlog-like, which I didn't really plan on doing and never considered myself a vlogger. But to take people on a journey with you, if you can do that and do it well, people are very into that.
Yeah.
So you guys are taking people on this journey of being brothers.
Right.
And building a shared passion, which is really cool, which is why I think it gets so much traction. I mean, to me, that's the understory that people are really excited about.
And I think, too, people want to listen or read or be connected with people who are actually doing things. And so that's what I think is some of the secret sauce to what Justin does is truly like the media side, like the lens and the ability to feel connected and the hooks that he writes. All that is great. It's really quality.
It's so good. It's so good.
But if it
really
wasn't closing 150 deals, a whole lot of those people wouldn't even care, because there's a decent amount of those people on there that are listening because they want to know how to close a deal.
That's right.
Or they want to know how to press on through. Because even when we're having fun, there is a grind to what we do. It is still work. It still has its nuance. It still can be difficult or frustrating. You can make it fun if you have the right mindset, heart set, the right ideas, and the right goals, but it can be still difficult. So you've got to work through that. And in those moments when you're working through it, that's where the content comes from.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I just had this cold call and it was a nightmare.
Yeah.
Or I had this cold call as a home run. Or I just closed this deal and now I'm wondering, I just closed one of the best deals of my life. This is one of my favorite things when he kind of does this, like just when we talk. It's like he'll close. He's working so hard to get it closed. And then literally like the next day, he's like, I feel like I got nothing.
That is
just no, you feel
had anybody talk about that?
You feel like you're unemployed.
This podcast.
Immediately after, you're like, I'm unemployed.
That's the craziest thing that happens in our business. You close a giant deal, and then the next day you're like, back to being a loser.
Because you're not literally closing one every 15 days.
Right.
You might go a few months. You might, there's ebbs and flows to our business. There's seasonality. There's all those things that go on. And I'll say seasonality like the literal seasons. I'm saying just the economic.
Right.
Yeah, it's fits and starts for sure.
So they dropped Fed drops 50 basis points last week on interest rates. Now we're saying, what does that mean? How does that help me close more deals, right? And for some people, it won't help them.
I'll tell you how it helps me.
All right.
A banker just asked me to go to lunch.
That's right.
Bankers are back, baby. I didn't pay for a single lunch from 2020 through early 22.
That's great.
And then now I've paid for a lot of lunches. But recently was asked to go to lunch. And so I think we're hopefully on our way back.
Yeah, I think bankers have been sitting around going, what do I do?
Right.
You know, and they're building relationships and they're staying connected, but it's been a season.
Yeah.
You know? Last couple years have been unique, but we're always going to have that.
Right. Sure.
So what I try to coach our group in as I think about our team is I don't coach them on like monthly and quarterly and annual type only. I mean, we look at all that, but I say, if you just look at January 1 to December 31 and how good was your year in sales, then you're missing the deal, because this is a long term. This is a marathon, not a sprint. And so you got to be thinking about an 18-month cycle. You got to be thinking about the stuff you work on today probably isn't closing for 6 months, 12 months, 18 months later, sometimes years later, right?
Years. Yeah,
We've got
easily
plenty of deals
years.
that I could talk about that Justin and I have closed a few together that took us years to get through.
Yeah.
So now he's been in the business long enough to say, I had a deal that took me 3 years to do.
Right.
Which sounds crazy when you start. You're like, I don't want to get in that business.
Right.
But you've got to be working on that alongside one that closes in 60 days and one that closes in 6 months and one that closes in 18 months. And then collectively you're building this pipeline. And so I think one of the things I didn't realize in coaching people is that I would love it so much. That I would love being able to like use my people skills, not to just gain clients, but to help coach Justin and say, you're doing a great job, even though you feel like you're unemployed today. And let's remember all the stuff you did to close that deal. Let's celebrate. But let's also talk about the pipeline that you've built for the last 18 months that now is still going.
Yeah.
Because you do have another deal that's supposed to close in 30 days. And you do have a new prospect that just called you yesterday, or you called them.
Right.
And so it really is working.
Yeah, it's all about building up this engine that just doesn't stop. You know, it just churns forward. Regardless of where we're at in the cycle or overall economy, you just keep the snowball of momentum growing and rolling. If you take your foot off of the gas for a while, you will feel it 6 months, 8 months down the road.
Yeah.
So it's like that. You said engine. I like the idea of a flywheel.
Yeah.
In all the media, all the presence type things that we're doing just continues to keep that flywheel moving, so that as you're out there trying to find and win new business, like the presence aspect of the videos and the podcasts and all this other stuff, the LinkedIn and the Twitter, like it just makes all of that easier.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they become assets.
And when people know who you are, everything is easier, unless, and this is what I used to say back when, it's like all this social media stuff, podcasts, all this stuff, it augments who you are. It's like a megaphone telling the world who you actually are. So if you're a jerk, and everybody's going to know you're a jerk, it can work against you.
Sure.
You know, but not an issue with you fellas. Well, clearly. But good marketing, I don't remember where this quote comes from, but I've always remembered this. Good marketing makes a bad product fail faster. Probably.
And that sort of goes back to what we started with, which is that the tool belt of what makes you a good product is some data driven because you know your market.
Sure.
It's some skill driven because you know how to get things done and how to look at specific deals, protect people's interest, protect their equity, and it's people driven. So then you have a higher EQ as well as IQ to be able to know how to speak with people. You can have all the data and knowledge in the world and not know how to talk to someone about it, and you're not going anywhere. I mean, one of my favorite clients was like in her late 90s. Woo! So one of my favorite clients in her late 90s.
Wow. No
computer or cell phone, just a house phone. And I sold a building in downtown Lexington for her that she thought was worth like 7 raspberries or something. It was worth $1 million.
Wow.
You know, I'm like, we can get $1 million for this. And it just blew her mind. And we had 4 changes in the contract that I had to go back and forth to her house. So I pull up, the front door. I'm like, hey, you need to initial this change that we talked about, go back. But just no, not even a fax machine. So dealing with that is a good reminder of like, I knew what that building was worth. I knew how to maximize value for her. But then getting her through the process was interesting and fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're really caring about people. We're checking on how can I help you? What's going on with you and your family? And okay, you have a business and you need to lease something. So it's just trying to understand what do you need and how can we help you get there? That's really what we're truly doing. So to me, it's all about the people until it's about the building.
Yeah.
I agree with what Justin's saying, but my mindset has always been people. I just can't get away from it. This is how I'm wired.
Yeah.
It's part of why here in the studio is because Bo was like, we can do this from your office. And I was like, I need to come be with you guys.
Yeah.
Like, it's just different
Yeah.
for me.
And it's kind of rare to get somebody from Lexington to drive to Owensboro. We're always driving to Lexington.
Baby.
I know what you're saying. Drive to Lexington on the regular. I was there last weekend for SAE family weekend.
And once you become a real estate person, especially commercial, when you drive down a road, and it drives my wife a little bit crazy.
Like that's the last weekend.
Very good, UK. When you drive down a road now, and my wife, it'll drive her a little bit crazy sometimes, as I'm like, oh, did you see that building over there? Oh, look at that outlaw. I can't believe they're building that. And sometimes like, can we just drive down the road?
Yeah.
But you go to a new town, or you go to Florida for vacation or whatnot, and you start to see things differently. And even when I'm coming here today, I'm noticing things or driving by a building. And Steve would always say, drive to the next location where you're going a different way than you normally would drive.
Yep.
Now we can do a lot of that on our computers. We can do a lot of that from our phone. But there is something about the people where when you get with somebody, you can do it through a video call. It really does make a difference than just a regular call. Getting off the texting and the emailing is even hard for me.
Yeah.
Being somebody who already cares about that. I'm kind of in that generational gap, being a 45-year-old. But I really feel like that even if I can talk to someone on the phone, it takes a whole nother step than just texting and emailing them.
Yeah.
I called a gentleman this morning that wanted to renew his lease, and I easily could have probably just put it all in an email. I think that's part of what's made our office, quote, successful, if you will.
Yeah.
Is that we have a lot of people in there.
Right.
And they're good with making those connections and figuring out how to connect to the person first.
Can you all think of any broker that is not person driven?
I mean, yes.
Are you talking about people in this room?
They're really good at still. I mean, they're smart business people, or they're savvy, or they're aggressive, or they're
right.
All those things can trump relationships sometimes, because some people care more about the money than they do the people. We still do live in a capitalist society, and we still do have people out there that are, aggressive.
Right.
I'm aggressive at times, but I'm different in my approach.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I just have a different style about how I go about it. Even to the point where I have clients that are that way. Let's say I manage a building and I say, I want to call that tenant and just have a conversation with them and get to know them. Give me a few weeks to get back to you. And they're like, no, just send them the email and tell them they pay this rent or they're out. But that's not my style. And you've asked me to be your advisor.
Right.
So how do we bridge that? Mm-hmm. So hopefully I'm coaching them into a different style, because that's what I'll say to them is, what's your ultimate outcome? What's your goal? They'll say, well, I want them to pay more rent. Well, why don't you let me see if I can go there on this? Because the other thing you want that you may not be seeing is, you don't just want them to pay more rent. You want the check not to bounce, and you want for them to stay there longer than 1 month.
Right.
So if I build a relationship with them, all of those things have a better probability of coming true.
Another thing that I learned through this podcast too is the broker's ability to be able to step in and help the business be successful, because you want the business to be successful. When maybe Brashers went in, they were looking at something bigger, a bigger space. It was like, actually, let's underwrite, let's see what we're doing. This smaller space I think would be better for you all. You don't have to fill it up or something like that.
Well, Todd actually took that tenant and they met with a business advisor who basically helped him, right size a business plan to where, like, look, everything has to go right if you take this bigger space. Let's take this smaller space where you have a high likelihood of succeeding. And then you can always grow out of it. You can add on. You got a lot of options if you're succeeding.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And so, a lot of times we have the opportunity as an advisor to help people succeed, because you're right. And you get a new tenant, like we had this happen at one of our strip centers, new tenant, doctor with a franchise, and they didn't work. It's still under lease, but it's dark. And that doctor's honoring the lease. He's still paying while we try to, sublease it. But I've got a dark space in that building, which is not great.
For the center.
And so it'd be much better if he would have succeeded. I would have much preferred that business succeed. So a lot of times you don't just want them paying higher rent on paper. You want the check to clear. You want them to be thrilled that they're there because they're succeeding.
And if that goes well, then they're going to refer you to other people, and they're going to feel cared for and say, when I do need the bigger space or the second location, you're my guy or you're my lady. You're the person who took care of me, so I trust. You're my trusted advisor, which is ultimately our goal.
Right. In
what we do. As we build a real estate brokerage, full-service brokerage company, that's ultimately what we're trying to do, is we're trying to be the trusted advisor, and it takes a long time to gain people's trust. John Verdon always says it takes a lifetime to build it and takes, a moment to lose it.
Right.
But if we're able to build that over time, then we keep it, and we just keep that momentum going. And then the more people that you have that trust you, and they tell the next person and so forth. So that's kind of what's happened over the years.
Because
really fun.
Your title is advisor.
That's right.
So that was Rand Sperry and Mark Van Ness's idea, because they wanted people to think of them as truly their advisor.
Right.
Because they came from a company that truly was just, you sell, you transact, you make the commission, you make as much as you can and leave everybody in the dust.
Yeah.
It's a commodity versus authority approach. Who are you in the space? Could you be replaced with anybody that is just there to be a part of the transaction and get a fee? Or are you an authority? You're actually making something happen because of your knowledge, expertise. That's what we really reach for.
I think that's why you've been so successful online, is because you've done those deals and because you seem so introspective and able to communicate what you're actually going through and can frame it in a way that's relatable. Like, you communicate with a lot of authority. And so beyond just like high quality videos and, editing well and all that stuff, I think the thing that makes it work for you is that authority piece.
It's funny. It's not complicated. Like, I heard this years ago, the best social media stuff, or whatever you want to call that, best media stuff is just your authentic self.
Yes.
And if you try to do something different, then it's going to be exhausting.
Right.
And it won't last.
And it won't be as good.
You'll have done it. Like, you bring your authentic selves to, the program every week. And that's the whole point, is I'm teaching my brother, and I've got expertise he didn't. And now he does. He's now taking over the company, I heard, potentially.
Well, when we say we had a master class with Young Life and people, one of the things that they teach you within Young Life is that every single person matters.
Right.
So if you can wake up today and say, if I help one client today, if I make one new connection today, if I serve one person in my community today, then I've actually succeeded or made a difference.
Yeah.
If you can go into that, that's a good mantra for life, right? Like, that's how God's wired us, by the way. But if you take that into business and actually apply it, which you all have talked some about, business and your faith, if you take that and apply it into business, it's incredible business acumen. It puts you in an incredible place, because how many times have we experienced somebody that we feel like is caring about us, whether it's a doctor or a car mechanic or a vet, but they actually care about me. We're like, here's the check.
Yeah.
Like, we're not even thinking about what we're paying them to fix our car, because we know they actually care. It's pretty fun that way when you start to drill it down to, like, if I just help that one person today, if I can just, in this case, Justin's working on probably, I would say at any time, 30 different things. But today he's lasered in on the one closing for tomorrow that rises above the other things. So we all have to prioritize.
Sure.
And if he can focus and help those people today, then that's going to unlock, the next 100 deals.
Right.
But instead he's in a bank vault talking to us.
And they're blowing up his phone right now saying, where is Justin? I thought he was our trusted advisor and he went off the grid.
Well, call him back. Call him back. You can call him back.
Put him on speaker, though. Call him back, put him on speaker.
Let's show him how it's done.
We could.
Yeah. Were you, I did want to ask you, did you make YouTube videos or content that went out before you started doing, because you said you've been making videos and stuff since you're a kid.
No.
Yeah.
No. Always wanted to.
Yeah.
And once you start, you just explore different options. You try to add like one major thing a year. You just don't have time to do a lot of stuff.
Right.
But once you get into the groove of posting and understanding what works and really connecting with people, what's cool is like things like the real estate gala, which was a formerly Twitter event hosted by Don Tedman, who is known as Strip Mall Guy on there. I got invited just because I post stuff.
Yeah.
So then sure enough, I'm like flying to New York City, and then on the 101st floor of this skyscraper in this ballroom, meeting with a billionaire and these other internet personalities. And, that kind of thing is super fun.
Oh, yeah.
And you only experience that because you put yourself out there and see what'll happen. The worst thing is that the worst thing that can happen is people will say, I don't care, which they already don't care.
Yeah. Right.
So you kind of can't lose if you don't take it personally.
Yeah.
And be yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the more you're able to pump out, like if this is what you really like, the more you're able to pump out, your growth is going to be huge. And there's going to be so many more opportunities outside of what you are doing in CRE alone with the audience that you will build. You can essentially sell them anything that you create or promote or whatever. So that's my encouragement to you to, if you can figure out to get an editor where you are able to juggle everything that you've got but put out more content, you will be unstoppable. You will be unstoppable.
Would you do it?
I will not. I'm looking for an editor right now.
Okay, you're in a place yourself.
Right. I'm in a place where, I need someone else to help execute everything that I'm trying to do with the podcast and a couple other things. So have you all, I know you know Rod, and you know Rod. Mm-hmm. You know Rod.
He doesn't know me. But,
does he not know you?
I mean...
I guess my question was like...
not like he knows Bo. I mean, they're tight.
Sure, yeah. They work together,
et cetera, yeah.
But you all have... Are you going to MassimoCon, or have you been involved with the Massimo group at all?
You're going? I actually am.
Yeah.
I'm 95% sure. I have not signed up yet or paid.
Yeah.
But I just worked out a...
Well, Justin wasn't coming here when? Yesterday? And this morning at 7:30 he said...
Yeah.
Are you on your way?
I just had a thing shift where I think it was highly recommended to me to go.
Yeah.
Through a couple different brokers, one being Reed Bennett.
Yeah.
And, he basically said, this will be the conference that will inspire, motivate, sharpen your brokerage skills, which I very much care about.
Yeah.
So there are other conferences you can go to that speak to different skills, whether it's the media stuff we've been talking about or whatever. But this is like by brokers, for brokers kind of thing. So I want to try it. And it's 2 days in Dallas. It's easy to get to.
Oh, yeah.
Great venue.
We're going.
So you guys are going.
I'm going to be there.
We're speaking.
I'm definitely in.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You're both speaking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
That will be super fun.
I'm not a CRE guy.
It's good. It is going to be really, really good.
I just keep hearing that MassimoCon is the best and funnest and just the greatest. It's not to say about any of the other ones. They probably have a lot of good value, but this one is just different.
I'm sure.
Wait, can we just get sold something? Is that okay?
And Justin's in right now. He just signed up.
Yeah, we got one.
Yeah, you guys convinced me.
Yeah.
You convinced me.
Do you have your CCIM designation?
Yes.
Yeah. Is
Got
that
it.
new?
Mine took like 10 years for me to get.
Yeah.
And Justin got it like in
9 months or something.
They won't.
I think it's
you
2
have
years
to.
or something.
Yeah, it has to be 2 years. They won't. When I applied to take the test the first time, they were like, "You can't take it yet. You have to wait
You don't
until."
even have your real estate license.
2 years. And I was like, "I've done all the classes. I have the portfolio of sales. Like, I'm good." And they said, "No, you have to wait until." So then I took it on 2 years and 30 days or whatever later, whenever that next test was. And it was funny because our colleague Wade Haga. Shout out to Wade.
Wade
was one of my students.
CCIM.
He was a Bo pupil.
What's up, Wade?
So he studied under Bo's tutelage and is very smart, building wise. But we just went to Nashville to celebrate him, and we had this giant celebration that was so cool, like state by state. Literally, CCIM took us out to dinner. It was
pinning ceremony.
It was awesome. There was a stage and a speaker and music and stuff, and I took it the year after COVID, and it was just like me and one other guy. And he was like, "You passed, congrats."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Sweet." So it was a different. I was pumped, and then
I did. Yeah.
Matt and I
brother-in-law
celebrated
came
Louisville.
in,
My brother-in-law, who's shout out to Tommy, my brother-in-law's
Tommy.
I like how Timmy gives the real shout outs.
Yeah. Like he shouts them. Yeah.
Libby, we better give Libby, Justin's wife, one. She was there.
I did, yeah.
Libby!
But
Meatloaf.
my brother-in-law is a commercial real estate hero of mine on the development and ownership side. Whereas we've been discussing a lot of the brokerage side. But regardless, we have a lot of reasons to celebrate, and we try to celebrate whenever we possibly can. We try and celebrate.
Sometimes just over barbecue in Owensboro.
Yeah,
That
maybe.
could be a place where you celebrate.
Could be.
We're in a vault.
Yeah.
So
Well, let's go get us some barbecue.
barbecue.
What do you say?
Cool.
BBQ in Owensboro, Kentucky.
Guys, thanks for having us on.
Yeah, you're so
man.
welcome. Before we go, if you want to look into that camera and tell people where they can find you, and
I don't even know. svnstone.com.
there it is.
Probably the main one. We're also anywhere Justin is online. Probably links back to some of our social media, which is just our company stuff. So I'd rather you see all Justin's social media because it's way more exciting. And then we also have a podcast through our company that we sort of helped launch, but it's its own thing.
Yeah.
Called Develop Lex. So if you're out there, especially Central Kentucky folks, Lexington, surrounding counties. We do a lot of conversations around people who've been involved in developing Lexington.
Oh, great.
And it can be business owners, real estate folks. It's real estate related, but it's also, big business, small business, everybody in between. We've had people for University of Kentucky on there. Mitch Barnhart has been on there, who's the athletic director. I mean, it's anybody who's sort of involved in developing Lexington. So Weston Lockhart, little shout out to Weston. He and Ross have really done a great job with that. So those are some places where kind of online you can find
That's all good stuff.
Justin, where can people follow you?
I look into the camera, right?
Yeah, are you
Sorry,
going?
I'm not good at this.
My two specific assets.
You're great at this.
My two specific assets that I deal with on a daily basis are multifamily real estate and small businesses. So especially if you're around Central Kentucky and interested in owning, selling, looking at those, reach out. You can just search Justin Ryder CCIM on LinkedIn, and that will link to all of my other social media sites, including YouTube. So if you like video stuff, go to YouTube and subscribe.
Yeah, you're on YouTube, X. Are you on TikTok?
No.
You should throw them up on TikTok and just throw everything you're doing. Just throw it up.
Just put it there.
You got to.
It's a little scary.
It's perfect for it. Just do it and forget about it, and then you'll come back and be like, oh. No, yours will work great on what you make would just do really well on TikTok. All right, great. Well, thank you all so much. If you have not yet, hit subscribe, ding that little bell. We have a free weekly newsletter that goes out every single Thursday where there's a curated articles on business, negotiation, commercial real estate. You'll get the latest podcast episode in there, so you never miss it.
You gonna tell them where to sign up for the newsletter?
Yeah. And how do they do that?
Well, you go to subscribe.wgbarron.com, and coming up, we're going to use that newsletter to survey our audience. So we want to know a little bit more about you.
Yes.
This will be your opportunity to give us feedback on, what do you want to hear about in season 2? What can we do to make this better? We'd love to get that feedback, and so be looking out for that newsletter and the feedback form that'll be.
And you can follow us on X. Twitter is X. X, Instagram, Facebook.
One last little shout out just for your all's company. Use it, cut it, whatever you want to do with it. But just for people out there thinking about podcasting, doing videos, whatever, when you think about Bo and him being really the person who first started kind of getting connected out, he's one of the people in Kentucky. You look at Owensboro, Kentucky. Yeah. Right? How many total people in Owensboro?
Maybe
60,000. Yeah, 100,000 in the county. I mean, it's a small town. America, right? And there's only so much real estate here, and there's farmland, and there's et cetera. And you could easily say, well, you know what? But here's Bo, has taught all over the world and all over the country with CCIM, has done things with Massimo, has done all these things online, right? And connected through social and through different media outlets, and has done all that literally from Owensboro, Kentucky, because one, he was willing to learn just the basics of the business, and two, get out of town. Go meet people, go see people, whether it's online or actually physically go teach a class or go get connected. Yeah. And so I'm not saying anybody can do it, right? Not anybody can do it, but lots of people can do it if you put the effort forth. Yeah. So if you're interested in continuing forward in this world, take people like Bo, take people like Justin, look at their story and say, wow, what about their story might relate to me and where I am. I don't have to be from Chicago or LA or New York City. Yeah. The Bob Knackles of the world are amazing. We all learn from them. But you don't necessarily have to be from Manhattan to get the platform. Right. You can still be you, like Justin shared earlier, and really do that. And you all have done a great job of that here. You were doing that prior to this podcast, but this podcast has highlighted that. Yeah. And has kind of given you a new platform, which is really fun. Yeah. And Timmy, thank you for actually making it more exciting. Oh, sure. Yeah, because guys like you and Justin make some of the stuff that we have head knowledge of become a little more fun. Yeah. So that people are enjoying it.
Yeah, well done, Timmy. This is a really cool thing.
We enjoy watching you be a part of it.
Cheers, y'all. Well, on that's commercially speaking. We'll see you all next Monday. Cheers, y'all.
Cheers.
Cheers. Yeah.
Water bottle. Yeah. Love you, brother.
Love you, man.
Bye, Alice. Bye. You all say bye to Alice?
Bye, Alice.
Bye, Alice.